All right, continuing on with polynomials, I want to talk about adding and subtracting polynomials in this video. So this is question number 2 from adding and subtracting polynomials. And first of all, when you're looking at adding and subtracting polynomials, you can only add or subtract things that have the same power. So for example, if I have n squared plus n cubed, there's nothing I can do there because they don't have the same power. If it's n cubed plus n cubed, then I can add those. And so if I have n cubed plus n cubed, that's 2n cubes. That's 2n cubes. So if I have, basically there's an invisible 1, right? There's an invisible 1 here. So I can just add whatever is in front of my n cubes. This is 2n cubed. So back to needing to have the same exponent. If I have x squared y squared x squared y cubed, again, if I'm adding, again, I can't do anything here because they both have to match. So the x's have to match and the y's have to match. If I have more than one variable with an exponent, they both have to match before I can add them. So this would be as simplified as I could get. I can't add these. All right. So that being said, let's actually go ahead and do the example. Let's do the example. So when we have addition and we have parentheses here, if there's nothing being multiplied and there's no power out here, those are the things we need to look for. Things being multiplied and powers outside the parentheses. If there's nothing like that and it's addition, I can just go ahead and drop the parentheses and it won't change the meaning. So this is 3n squared plus 8 plus 8n squared minus 8. And now I can just combine the things that have the same power. So this is an n squared term and this is an n squared term. So I can just add these. So I get 3 plus 8. I get 11n squared. And then I can add the constants. So I get 8 minus 8 is 0. So my final solution is just 11n squared. So I can combine the things that have the same power. That's always going to be our rule here when we're adding and subtracting polynomials. Okay, so let's go ahead and do number 10 and look at subtracting. This is one very important extra step that we have to do when we're subtracting. So this is question number 10. So that's 2m squared plus 6 minus 7 minus m squared. So the very, very, very important thing that we have to do when there is a negative, when there's a subtraction, we have to remember that there's an invisible 1 here, and we have to distribute -1 to both of these before we can drop the parentheses, because this negative applies to both the 7 and the negative m squared. So this front parenthesis is going to stay the same. We can just drop the parentheses on that, but we have to distribute this negative. If we don't distribute the negative, the answer will be wrong. So we're going to get -7, and then a negative times a negative is a positive. So we get plus m squared. So the sign on the 7 changes and the sign on the m changes. everything that's inside the second parenthesis, when there is a negative here, everything inside the second parenthesis has to change sign. Okay? So now that we've done that, now we can just combine like terms, right? So we're just combining like terms. So 2m squared plus m squared is 3m squared. And 6 minus 7 is -1. So that's our solution. So it's pretty straightforward. We just have to remember to distribute this negative, because if we don't, we'll get the wrong answer. Because notice if we hadn't distributed it, this would have been negative, and we would have gotten 1m squared instead of 3m squared. So we have to distribute that negative before we can combine like terms. Okay. Hopefully that helps, and I will see you in the next video.